Well, this was a very strange game. I mean, initially it looked like the Bulls were going to have their worst loss of the season in terms of points differential. They were down by as many as 36 at one point, with the largest deficit that they've had all season. And then the Bulls were able to cut the lead down to single digits at one point in the fourth quarter, but the Spurs were able to close out the game despite the insane run the Bulls went on in the second half. Now, I didn't expect this, new Bulls roster to start clicking right off the bat, especially when all of the newly acquired players hadn't even yet practiced yet with the team. All they did actually was participate in shoot around earlier today before the game, but I would have at least liked to have seen the guys be a little more competitive and playing with energy to start off the game, because that was a bad first half, no matter how you look at it. But I was saying in the group chat during the game, I'm giving the boys a pass on this one, purely because they literally just joined the team less than 24 hours ago. The new players haven't yet practiced or familiarized themselves with the new system, and the current Bulls players obviously aren't used to the way these newcomers operate. I think that was clear right away in the fact that the Bulls weren't used to feeding a big man inside and also utilizing him as an interior playmaker. But what was great to see was that the Bulls slowly but surely got into a rhythm in the second half, finally getting some stops, making plays, cutting to the basket, actually executing on pick and rolls with Vucevic. They finally started hitting shots as well, and then they actually went on a 27-10 run at one point in the second half. But again, the deficit was just too deep for the Bulls to be able to handle and come back from. But either way, I'm not going to read too much into this game. As I mentioned, it's likely going to take a week or two before we see these guys really starting to gel and build chemistry between one another. And I actually suspect the Bulls are going to come out very strong against the Warriors on Monday. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Before I get into the post-game video, we did have a winner for the Joakim Noah signed photo giveaway. And because we did not have anyone predict the final score of the game correctly, since most of you predicted the Bulls would win this game, which I don't blame you, we always want to see our team win, but even for the ones who did predict the Spurs to win, they were usually by slim margin. So the winner was actually the 16th person who commented on yesterday's video, because the Bulls lost by 16 points, so the 16th commenter from oldest to newest, and that was Joey K. So congratulations, my man, you are now the new proud owner of this signed photo of Joakim Noah. Please DM me directly, either through my email address or on my Instagram page, which you can find on my channel profile, so I can get your mailing address and have it shipped to you directly. For those that didn't win, don't worry guys, I do giveaways often on this channel, so you'll have a chance at another one at a later time, so make sure you're staying tuned into the channel so you don't miss out on any future giveaways that I have. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about tonight's game, because I saw a lot of people commenting in the live chat on the channel their frustration and anger for how the Bulls were playing. And granted, this was a bad first half. Not even just bad, really. It was an embarrassing first half when you were being completely handled by the opposing team on both ends of the floor. And I think all of us were just very excited after the moves that were made at the trade deadline, and we expected the team to come out with a newfound sense of energy and excitement by adding a guy like Vucevic to the roster. And we're a bit disappointed when we saw our team go down by over 30 points in the first half. So look, I get that, no one wants to see that happen with their team, especially after a big trade like the Bulls just made. But what we can take away from this game that is promising is the sense that even by the second half, you saw guys getting used to and understanding how to utilize Vooch more, where he is effective in the pick and rolls, with him shooting those threes and feeding him also into the paint. The Bulls aren't used to having a player like that on their roster. I like Wendell, don't get me wrong, and I wish the best for him in Orlando, but he was not that type of player in the paint, and then who could also spread the floor and shooting threes. He just wasn't that. This team, without a doubt, will be better than they were before. Not saying that they're going to be a contending team. They're going to have to figure out their defensive woes, which I'll get to that in a little bit, and then also solve for their need at the point and having a quality floor general who can organize the team on offense. The Bulls simply don't have that right now, even with Sato, who is a decent facilitator. Really, the thing that stood out to me the most from this game, and I hate to say it because I've been such a big defender of this guy all season, and he should still be included in the starting lineup, even after the recent trades. I had mentioned that after the trade was made, but that's Lauri Markkanen and his inability to defend. Now, we saw Markkanen actually starting to improve his defense at the beginning of the season before he got injured. But ever since then, I mean, watching him try to stay in front of his man, his slow lateral movements to the basket on defense, they're really just painful to watch. Now, it was always kind of countered, Markkanen's lack of defense anyway, was countered by the fact that he was a decent offensive player, not even just decent, a great offensive player. But even on offense, he hasn't been doing well recently. Only 10 points tonight, he shot 1 for 6 from 3, and it leads me to think that it might be time to start bringing Markkanen off the bench. And the reason I say that is because the Bulls' current starting unit, although great on offense despite having an off shooting night tonight, they are dismal on defense. I mean, Patrick Williams is really the only decent defender in that starting role, and he's a 19-year-old rookie, so he's not going to cut it for having him be your primary defender in the first unit. And the Bulls have to start off games strong, which they were looking solid at least in those first 3 minutes or so on offense, but their defense was non-existent, and of course the Spurs took advantage of it, further outscoring the Bulls 33-20 in the first and 32-19 in the second. I mean, the Bulls, they will continue to struggle with the same problems if shots aren't falling on offense. They will find themselves in large holes to begin games because of their limited defense from the starting lineup. Now, some of you had actually been mentioning this to me in the comments, that the Bulls really need to start Thaddeus Young over Markkanen at the 4, which I disagreed with, but really this kind of makes more sense now to really balance out the defense in the starting unit, give them another veteran big man to go alongside Vuce, and have Markkanen be a scoring spark off the bench, while the bench now has newly acquired defensive players in Troy Brown and Aminu and now Daniel Theis, who of course didn't play tonight, but he should be available for the game on Monday against the Warriors. So by moving Thaddeus to the starting lineup, you now have a more balanced and diversified group of guys between those who play well on offense and those who are more defensively minded players. So I'll be curious to see what type of adjustments are made from Billy Donovan over the course of the next few games. He himself had actually said, because the lineup is so new since making the trades just 2 days ago, that this starting lineup that he had in tonight's game was by no means set in stone, and that the rotation would continue to be fluid. Now, for Nikola Vucevic, not a bad debut for the Bulls, actually. For a team he literally hasn't even practiced with yet. He had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 9 for 16 from the field to go along with 3 assists. Zach Lavine was a little cold tonight, but he was actually listed as questionable before tonight's game. So I don't know if it was, he was a little off tonight due to the lingering injury from his ankle or what, but he couldn't seem to find his stroke tonight. Ended up only playing 28 minutes, which is on the lower side for him. 18 points, but on 6 for 15 shooting and only 1 for 5 from 3. He did actually say after the game that his ankle was not 100%, so I do hope that he recovers decently. I feel like if he's not getting any better, it might be best to at least just sit him out for a game or two to get some rest and make sure that he's fully recovered. Thaddeus Young didn't have the best game from what we're used to seeing from him all season anyway. He was a little sloppy at times with the balls, wasn't really that efficient in putting up shots, but 10 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds continues to be a solid player that, can do so many things on both ends of the floor. Coby White, a better game than what we've seen from him recently, but Coby still needs to be smarter on the court. When the Bulls started making that great run in the 4th where they closed in on the Spurs within single digits, Coby really took some ill-advised shots and ISO plays and driving to the basket, which just isn't the right play to make when the team is on a run like that and the momentum is in their favor. And he's also not the guy to make that type of play if it is in fact needed. That would come from someone like Zach Lavine, who is generally much better at executing on isolation plays. Coby had 13 points, he shot the ball a little bit better, 5 for 12 from the field, 5 rebounds and 4 assists, but really just need to see more from Coby in terms of his basketball IQ and his playmaking ability. Outside of that, I did really like what I saw from Troy Brown in his Bulls debut. In his limited minutes, he was strong on defense and actually made some nice plays on offense as well. He had a smooth Euro step play for an and one when the Bulls were going on that run. That really got me hyped when I saw that. So I'm excited to see more from this kid who might really benefit from this change in scenery, you know, when he wasn't getting the opportunities he was looking for in Washington. He's only 21 years old. He was a number 15 pick in the 2018 draft, so there is upside potential there from this kid. It'll also be great to have Tice for the next game, you know, as he really brings great rim protection and energy that the Bulls are going to need in that second unit. I'm looking forward to seeing him make his Bulls debut on Monday. Anyway, overall, guys, yes, it wasn't a good game, but again, this is the first game after the trade deadline. The guys haven't even had a chance to practice yet with their newly added players. They were playing against a good team in the San Antonio Spurs. It's going to take a few games before they start getting into the flow of the offense and working well together in Billy Donovan's system. I know a lot of people were getting upset in the chat, but give it some time. You know, building a contending team is a process, and this was just a first step in that process. That's all I've got for now, though, guys. Congrats again to our guy Joey for winning the signed Noah memorabilia. Don't forget to message me your information so I can have that shipped out to you. Be sure to subscribe, guys, if you're a Bulls fan, as I post daily Bulls content. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one.